Welcome, everybody, to our AD update, and we bring no one else to the table but the Interim Director of Athletics and Recreation, Dixie Jeffers. Coach, 2 weeks ago, we spoke on the program. Last, we were talking about sports that intended on playing this spring are getting back into the weight room, or they're getting back out and doing team workouts. Now we bring it to where we are today. What's the pulse on how you believe things are going as far as spring sport season workouts?
Well, everybody's up working out. They're either competing or they're working out, and it's awesome to hear and to be able to watch things moving. Football practice is in full swing. Baseball, softball's in full swing. Men and women's lacrosse is in full swing, and then we have our soccer's back up. So golf, everybody's moving, and the Cap Center is quite busy right now, and things are looking good, and we're excited. We're still finalizing schedules and so forth, and still, enjoying the opportunities that we're getting right now and anticipating even more coming down the road.
Now, week one of the winter season was a little rocky, but since then, we've had limited cancellations across the OAC. What do you accredit this league-wide success to this point?
Well, we're doing multiple testing. If you're inside, you're considered a tier 1 program, which is a mandate to go 3 times a week or come with a PCR test. And so I think we've done a really good job throughout the conference of administrating the testing and staying on top of things to limit the exposures and so forth, and the quarantines and the isolations that we have to do. It's obvious everybody's up running again, and we're moving, and couldn't be more happier and excited for the kids.
And we don't have any insane Kevin Durant situations, if you're familiar with that one. So that's
well,
a good.
That is insane. I know that they're even putting sanctions on them that when they go to play somewhere, of how long they can be out of the hotel room and where they're going and so forth. And thank goodness we don't have to do that with our kids. Our kids really do want to play, and this is a sign that they want to play. And the university's done every measure they can do, and we've done everything that we could do in the athletic department, and it's working.
Now, the planning and the response to COVID-19 still goes on, but by and large, from a zoomed out view, it seems like that things are going much better here at Capital University, maybe even than anticipated. So are we on a roll of some sort now, and can we keep this thing going?
Well, I definitely hope that we can keep this going, and we keep reminding everybody that we still are in a pandemic. My biggest fear is the testing is going to make people relax, thinking that that's going to save them in some way, but it's not. I just think the kids are smarter. They're staying within the groups that they're been assigned to and they're used to being around. They're staying out of the bars, so to speak. At least that's what the testing's revealing. And they're running with people they're used to, and that helps. And they're doing the protocol. They're washing their hands, wearing their mask, and we're moving about in our so-called little campus bubble and the CAP bubble.
Amazing what just the simple things that we ask them to do lead to such positive results. We're talking with head coach Dixie Jeffers of the women's basketball team, also interim athletic director. So coach, schedules for the sports playing in this spring, they're starting to take shape. Some of them were set in the fall and they've maintained that. And then there are some that are looking for a bit of expansion and it might be considered. So what do you have to share about schedules for fall sports playing in the spring and spring sports looking to start their seasons here in the next month or so?
Well, let me reiterate how disappointed we are with the NCAA canceling the winter sports championships. That was kind of a blow. We anticipated it because of how things were going and the way money and protocols interfering with everything, not from our end, but from the NCAA. So when that came down, that was a blow. We had to kind of reset ourselves and so forth. And I'm very, very disappointed for all our senior athletes, but I'm really disappointed for Josh Miller. Here is our number 1 thrower in the country. And again, he gets those postponed and stopped for him. So we're really counting on our spring sports to be able to have the spring championships and so forth. So our kids can go on and experience a high level of competition. And Josh definitely is one of those kids that I'm probably the most concerned about, and seniors across the country. So I wanted to address that first and foremost before I moved on. But we'll get our schedule set. We're still adjusting and moving and trying to figure out how some of this is going to work from a facility standpoint. We're going to have 4 and 5 events every week on our campus. And sometimes we're going to have 2 events going off simultaneously. So we're challenged with volleyball and football going off on Friday nights and so forth. And every weekend there's always going to be a sport going off. But we're happy to be able to do this. We're prepared to do this, and we're going to be working in shifts, and we're all going to be dragging our rear ends around because it is a challenge, and we constantly have to just reset and reload and can continue to go. But it's the right thing. I said many weeks ago, because I'm in the trenches, it is absolutely imperative that we continue to do this for these kids in a safe and well manner, but for a mental health standpoint too.
Well, coffee and caffeine donations for the Capitol athletic staff can be delivered right to the Capitol Center.
Pretty much living on that right now.
Pretty much already. It'll only get worse and or better, depends on your view of it. But we're looking forward to that as well, especially for outdoor track and field championships for Josh. We're hoping that that actually takes shape. So, Coach, can you share with us what matters are on the docket next for your next AD and president's meeting? What's left yet to discuss? You mentioned that there are some schedules that need to be discussed a little bit further, but what else is there?
Well, with the not pause, but the cancellation of the winter sports, we still need to look at the conference tournament if this makes sense from a well-being standpoint and so forth. And we'll discuss that on Wednesday. I'm sure we'll discuss that. We're going to discuss other people's protocols, and just we continue to discuss with one another best practices and so forth, and what's really going on our campuses and so forth. And there's a huge concern for football. If now that we're all together, if 2 people, 3 people test positive, how many people does that take down? Well, it takes down a great number of people, and that affects, people's opportunities to play and so forth, the way we have it set up. So we're always going to constantly be talking about protocol and working through different things. And we've even adjusted the officials protocol as of today for women's basketball at our place. So you never stop trying to communicate and adjust and find better practices or best practices that we should be doing. But the fact that we're going to be up, and the fact that we're looking at pretty full schedules and so forth, is awesome to where we were 8 months ago.
All right. I know that you probably get asked this multiple times a day, if not a week, but is there any chatter on when or if fans will be allowed for a potential OAC tournament or for spring sporting events?
There is chatter. Okay. And we have agreed with the presidents that would be revisited for March 1st. I'm very, very optimistic for anything outdoors. I'm not sure that they'll be allowed to come indoors with us, but definitely outdoors, like for football games, for soccer games, and for men and women's lacrosse and baseball, softball. Those are things that I can really get my head wrapped around, understanding why we would want participants there. And then March 1st is going to be another discussion with the presidents about letting maybe a parents, come in for senior day and some things like that. But, when you got things rolling as well as we're rolling right now, do you upset the cart? There's always things for communication, and we definitely would love to have our parents back. And we know they're a big piece of us, and it's the right thing to do for the kids, but we just got to make sure it's safe.
Now, along those lines, I mean, isn't it insane to think that we're but mere weeks away from starting lacrosse season? And just after that, football season in its most non-traditional form will be taking the field in the spring. I mean, you still have a season to play out with the women's basketball team, but when you look forward, I mean, how optimistic is it? And what sports might make you most giddy to see back in action this spring?
I have been giddy, to be really honest, to see everybody, to hear the ping of the bats, the throwing of the balls and the gloves popping, and the football team out on the field, and lacrosse out there shoveling is a normal thing for us too, to be able to play and so forth. It is, I'm just looking forward to seeing the kids have the opportunities, and to be able to have our coaches up and back into that setting that we're used to of competing and so forth. And everybody just needs to continue to understand we still are in a pandemic, and these are opportunities that we're giving the kids. By no means are we in the best condition that we could possibly be in. And by no means are we looking at the competition as the all end. What we're looking at this as is the opportunity for the kids mentally, physically, socially be able to get out there and be able to have some type of normalcy.
And just for clarity, shoveling snow does not count toward the hours for weight training or team practice or anything, right?
No, it does not, but it sure is. It is something that we're accustomed to seeing around here.
No doubt about it. Last topic of conversation, Coach. It was announced earlier, or really last week, that the university was moving forward with exploring different moniker and mascot names. They've put out a website to educate those on how they might be able to contribute possible ideas for what we may become moving forward. So what would you like to say as far as what or how important it is to be involved in this process and how you can do so?
This is extremely important. Athletics, as everyone knows, pretty much champions the mascot and the moniker and so forth. And so it's very, very important to us, and it's very serious to us and to our alumni. We've had an incredible tradition with the word crusaders and so forth. And, with much discussion and much debate and so forth, the university has decided to move forward. And now it's time to explore a new name. So I encourage everyone to take the opportunity. I just got my postcard today about being able to vote. And I voted last week on the name that I would like to see and so forth. To take the time, really think through this and help us move forward in a positive fashion and have a sense of pride of where we're headed with the name that we're about to bring forward and so forth.
And if you'd like to be educated and or contribute your nomination for that name, it's the Choose Your Champion campaign that we're running, and you can access that online at apps.capital.edu/choose. And we'll definitely put that somewhere down here on the video as well. So be sure to put your nominations forward. And then when the time comes later in the spring, you can begin to see updates as we whittle down the many, many nominations that are sure are flowing in. Coach, I have to give you a little bit of props and a little bit of time to gloat. You chose the Buccaneers to win. I did not. And once again, you told me so. So I wanted to give you your opportunity to kind of put it back in my face a little bit and say, I told you so.
Well, I'm not going to say I told you so, but wow, is he something else? And the Buccaneers defense was so tough, but told you, don't go against Brady. He is a machine, and I don't think any of us have ever seen quite the athlete of how he takes care of his body and his mindset and his work habits and so forth. And gotta tell you, I wasn't always a fan of his, but last night I was, because I think it's remarkable for what he's done. And they only lost by 3 the first time, so home field advantage does take a little precedence there.
No doubt about it. Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, now setting the all-time mark with the most Super Bowl rings amongst any person or franchise, I believe. It
is. It's true.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations on your correct pick. And you should also know to never pick against head coach Dixie Jeffers. Don't do that either. So, thank you so much.
It's taken you all these years to figure that out.
You know what? I was warned before I even got here to not do that. And apparently 7 years later, I still haven't learned my lessons. Thanks, Coach, for joining us here on the AD Update. We'll have a few more entertaining topics to discuss next time around, and hopefully we'll be on the precipice of some spring sports taking the field for the first time next time we speak.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, we're talking with Interim Director of Athletics, Dixie Jeffers, on our AD Update. Hopefully we'll be talking more next time around with some spring sports.